next week. Responsibility for the content of the show rests completely with the students and their instructors.
Coming up on BCIT Magazine, a first-hand account of the mass shooting on the Vegas Strip.
Two very different rallies happen at the Peace Arch.
And truckers prepare to trade in paper logs for electronic. Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Gurneet Samra.
And I'm Mac Britton.
A horrific mass shooting killed and injured many attendees at a country music festival on the Las Vegas Strip. Chanel Klein took to YVR Airport to hear a Canadian's first-hand account. Warning, the following footage is disturbing.
Inbound flights land at YVR carrying passengers from Las Vegas only a day after the mass shooting. Bedrosian was in the crowd when the worst happened.
I don't know, I said to myself I wasn't going to watch any of the news, and I just kind of watched a little bit of it, and it's scary hearing the sound bites, I'll be honest. The gunshots it was just a constant flicker noise, and that was the scariest part there, was the first 10 minutes, just running as fast as you can, as hard as you can.
Ryan still wears his festival wristband. Route 91 Harvest was his 16th concert this year.
I don't know if I'll be coming back to the U.S. anytime soon, or I don't know if I'll be wanting to go to any sort of festivals and things like that. And I got an earful from my mother on the phone saying, why do you go to these things?
Instead of running into the arms of his family, Ryan greets an army of video cameras and microphones after a restless flight. Passengers landing from the other side of the continent anxiously await messages from loved ones.
I have friends in Las Vegas, and I actually just had a text from him when I got off the plane, and they're okay, but they were at the other end of the strip. But yeah, I did have friends there, so.
You must have felt worried, eh?
I was very worried, yes.
As for Ryan, he returns to Canada as a survivor, forever changed.
It was actually surreal. We were having the greatest time, and that had to just throw us into live or die type of moment.
Chanel Klein in Richmond for BCIT Magazine.
Our reporter Chanel Klein joins us live now. Chanel, do we have any updates on the situation?
Well, the investigation is still ongoing, but police report that there have been 59 casualties, 4 of whom were Canadian. Mac?
Chanel, what has the Prime Minister said about the Las Vegas attack?
Trudeau issued a statement on Monday saying, quote, "We are following up with the reports of Canadian victims. Consular officials are in close contact with local authorities." Trudeau also offered his deepest condolences to those who lost loved ones and family in the attack. Back to you.
The U.S. government will soon require truckers to switch from paper to electronic logs, and BC carriers crossing the border will have to follow. My co-anchor Gurneet Samra reports on the challenges BC truckers will face in the digital era.
The U.S. government is tightening up on truckers. Within 3 months, drivers will have to track their hours with a digital logbook. And that means Canadian carriers will have to install these devices in any truck that crosses the border. Each e-log can cost up to $2,000, and there are more costs on top of that.
On average, you're looking at about $150 for the install into the truck, and then there will be an install for your app, which is usually free, but then the month-to-month cost of running that, roughly between $25 to $30 per month.
Right now, U.S. and Canada drivers fill out paper logs to track their workday. Tacker believes the e-log devices will change the local industry.
You're pretty much getting information from the driver minute by minute. Before, you were getting the information from the logbooks every 15 days in the U.S. That was the law. So now when a guy's going to go over hours, you're getting that information within a couple of minutes.
But some drivers question how accurate this system will be.
When you go into your docks, you're still stuck there for 2 hours. That goes against you on your drive time.
So you're not actually driving.
You're not actually driving, but it goes against you. And now you got all your shippers and receivers telling you, you got to go, you got to go. It's an electronic nightmare.
The BC Trucking Association says the new laws will increase road safety.
ELDs clearly demonstrate that the driver is doing his or her job in a responsible, safe, and legal way. It allows them to have accurate information when they're at check stops, as well as focus on other aspects of their duties.
The U.S. plans to roll out electronic logs on December 18th. In Canada, it could be a few years before laws are passed to make drivers go digital. Gurneet Samra in Surrey for BCIT Magazine. Two groups rallied at the Peace Arch border on Saturday. Immigration was the topic at both rallies, but as Jamie Dodd found out, the groups had very different thoughts on the subject.
On a busy Saturday at the Peace Arch, Caleb Trott came from Vancouver to have his voice heard.
I think it's important to, exactly what they said, stand up to racism, especially these days when there is, seems like racists these days feel empowered.
Many different groups united at the rally.
I think it's always very important to stand up against racism. Often these, I think the trend that we've seen since the election of Donald Trump is that these groups are coalescing.
But one of those groups that Trott and Prasad are worried about was at the Peace Arch too.
Well, we're standing up against Trudeau and all. He's going to destroy this country if he doesn't stop.
Moore didn't agree that this particular rally was racist, but the message was very different from the folks on the other side of the park.
Who's going to pay for the 40,000 illegals that have walked across the border? By the end of this year, it'll be 40,000. What's that going to cost us, $1 billion a year?
Trott said he was at the rally because he's seen racism growing in the Lower Mainland.
Racist literature popping up. Chilliwack, we've seen it now as close as East Van. I mean, it's not acceptable. And I do believe that really the only way to show people it's not acceptable is to show up and stand up to it.
Every time they want to organize and they want to stand up somewhere, we organize. We stand up.
Other rallies like these happened across the country, and even though neither group here was very large, they made their voices heard loud and clear. Jamie Dodd in Surrey for BCIT Magazine.
Kinder Morgan protesters are encouraging Canadians to boycott their bank. The Kinder Morgan pipeline expansion project has been the target of many rallies. This protest was planned on the corner of Spurling and Hastings Street in Burnaby in order to send a message to the banks. Protesters are asking bank users to boycott TD Canada Trust. TD is one of the banks that invested in the pipeline. A spokesperson for TD Bank declined to comment on the protest. Trans Mountain announced last week that they have completed contracts to start the pipeline's construction.
They should personally divest from the banks, and then the banks should divest for the pipelines until that happens. We definitely encourage people to close their bank accounts if they can, to take that act of civil disobedience and really highlight what these banks are doing.
Coming up after the break, a local group that find a way to provide people with a source of income.
And local farmers continue to feel the heat of summer.
A defining moment for me was when I finished my first internship and got lots of really great feedback from industry professionals.
I would have never imagined I'd be walking into the floors of TSN and thinking, I'm not a student anymore, I'm here to work.
I will be starting a job with an investigative news program in Toronto, and I'm really excited to see that grow into what will become, hopefully, my dream job.
BCIT Broadcast and Online Journalism, putting you to work.
Standby graphics, ready, camera one.
If you want to experience the fast-paced world of news.
Today on BCIT Magazine, striking.
Make magic on a movie set.
Frame.
And action.
Or bring your creative ideas to life. BCIT's hands-on training will get you started. BCIT Television and Video Production. Your possibilities start here.
Okay, so.
Welcome back. Distracted driving is on the rise in BC. Katie Penny has the story on last month's Vancouver Police campaign.
The Vancouver Police Department announced today that they have given out 1,969 tickets for distracted driving in September. This was part of their campaign to stop distracted driving. Distracted driving can include eating while driving, using a GPS, and even leaving your phone in a cup holder. However, the VPD September campaign focused on using electronic devices.
The purpose of the campaign was to educate motorists and discourage the use of mobile devices while driving. The high number of tickets written during the campaign proves distracted driving is still a problem on Vancouver streets.
The VPD says that phone use, even at a stoplight, can result in distracted driving ticket.
You could all of a sudden put your head up, make a right-hand turn, and there's a pedestrian there and you didn't see that pedestrian. You're in control of that vehicle regardless if you're at a red light or not.
Students we talked to agree that distracted driving can be dangerous.
It's pretty self-explanatory. Anybody that texts and drives should get a ticket.
I checked my phone at the red light and the people behind me honked, so it is definitely a distraction.
I don't think they will learn for just a fine. Okay, they will pay it and again, next time they can do the same thing, right? But if you take away their driver license, they will reconsider it next time.
Police are asking drivers to do one thing before they leave in the car. If your phone is out loosely, you could get a ticket. So either fasten it or put it away. In BC, using an electronic device in the car can result in a $368 ticket. Vancouver police hope this is enough incentive for drivers to take a break from their phones. Katie Penny in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Our reporter Katie Penny now joins us live in Burnaby. Katie, why did the Vancouver Police Department start this campaign?
Well, Gurneet, distracted driving is a leading cause of car accidents in BC. ICBC statistics say it causes more than a quarter of all car crash fatalities in the province. Gurneet?
Katie, just how risky is it for drivers to be at the wheel while they're texting?
Well, Gurneet, ICBC also states that if you are texting at the wheel, you could be 5 times more likely to get into a car crash, so the risk is high. Back to you.
A local nonprofit is employing downtown Eastside residents to promote social inclusion as they clean up the city. Isabella Zavrisi spent time with the people involved in the Binners Project.
Davin Boutang collects these plastic bottles, coffee cups, and cans every day. He is a member of the Binners Project. The Binners Project is a group of trash pickers who collect, sort, and redeem containers and other objects from bins to sustain their livelihood.
Vancouver wants to be the greenest city by 2020, and Binners is a huge part of that solution.
In 2016, close to 600,000 tons of municipal solid waste was dumped into our landfills. Because Binners work directly with trash, they're well aware of what's thrown out.
Coffee cups all have paper cups, most of them, but the lids are plastic. Those lids can be recycled.
The goal is to divert waste from landfills while providing income to those who do this work. The project builds social cohesion, a sense of autonomy, and provides a sense of purpose.
It's giving me focus, and now I work with them full time. Have goals in my life. It's giving me motivation, making me dream of bigger things again.
It's a bottom-up approach to community building, reintegrating those who face challenges and reminding them that they have value. Isabella Zavrisi in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Vancouver builds more stackable and low-income housing. My co-anchor Mac Britton has more details on modular homes.
This is an open house, but it is just a model. There are 40 housing units just like this in downtown Vancouver, and there will be more. The agency behind this says more of these units can definitely make a difference in Vancouver.
Yeah, I think it's going to have a remarkable or dramatic effect for the people that were unsheltered and not housed last winter.
The unit is small, but has enough room for a single bed, a small living area, a kitchenette, and a bathroom complete with a shower. The unit's design makes it stackable on smaller pieces of land. The Vancouver Affordable Housing Agency dropped a unit in the middle of Robson Square so people could learn about the project. This 320 square foot unit is the same one that they have already on Main Street. It would serve as a rental for low-income individuals during the cold months.
We have about 3,000 people homeless right now. They need to get in, and they need to get in quickly. These modular units provide very adequate housing. This is secure housing.
Vancouver put together the agency as the BC government pitches in $66 million to build almost 600 of the stackable and movable units. Mac Britton in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine. The BCIT Student Association is helping students fill up to get their mornings off to a good start. Trevor Knapp has more.
It's the first Tuesday of October, and that means free breakfast for BCIT students at the Burnaby campus. BCIT's Breakfast Club is held the first Tuesday of every month in the Great Hall. Kimberly Carter and Lauren Oleskovich of the BC Student Association Health and Wellness Department were dishing out the free meals.
Breakfast Club started with the students' idea of providing free breakfast that's fresh and nutritious for students because we're so busy as BCIT students.
Your physical health and your mental health and all aspects of your health are really interconnected, and it's a holistic approach that we're trying to take with the Wellness Center. We know as a student you're really time stressed and financially stressed, so sometimes getting your proper balanced nutrition is really hard to do when you're in that state.
And getting that balanced nutritional breakfast is as simple as this: yogurt, grains, and berries. It'll do the trick. Fourth-year BCIT student Wafa says eating healthy is a big key for learners to succeed and deal with stress.
Having studied for 3 years at BCIT, I can definitely tell you that it is very important that students have their breakfast and make sure that they don't also miss their lunch, because a lot of the times when we're stressed, we don't look into what our body needs.
Plenty of food was served on this Tuesday morning, and that's just the start, as the BCIT Student Association hopes Breakfast Club grows even more going forward. Trevor Knapp for BCIT Magazine.
Speaking of breakfast and how it benefits students, here to talk about the Student Life Ambassador Program is Jessica Sanchez. Thanks for joining us, Jessica.
Thanks for having me.
Now tell us a little bit about the Student Life Engagement Calendar.
So during the month of October, we're going to be focusing on financial and psychological wellness.
So those wellness, two of the 8 dimensions of the wellness program?
Yep, so our 8 dimensions of well-being are intellectual, occupational, physical, financial, psychological, environmental, spiritual, and social.
That's quite a lot. And what are the Student Life Ambassadors doing to reach students?
So we're really here to provide a student-to-student voice and provide just-in-time information to students.
And what other services are you guys providing for students at all?
So we like hook students up with the student services that are available, so counseling services, recreational services, financial aid.
And so is the Student Association building kind of where all the students can find out all about these wellness programs?
Actually not. We're not in the Student Association. We are in SW1.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you so much for coming in with us. I hope you have a great day.
Thanks. Have a good day too.
Thank you.
Coming up next, new street art comes to Whistler.
And hopeful gamers want esports to become an Olympic event.
The most rewarding thing for me has been the relationships I developed in the program, both with instructors and classmates.
My sense of confidence has never been higher. I mean, this program's offered great opportunities to be in real world, real industry situations, and being in those moments and knowing I can contribute, I can do this.
It's exciting to be in this industry and to meet lots of great people and to make amazing friends.
BCIT Broadcast and Online Journalism, realizing your potential.
I chose BCIT because I know that all the programs are very hands-on. We have our own radio station, like it's one of the best programs that I've ever heard of.
I am starting a job on Monday, so confidence is high.
Honestly, I didn't think it was going to be this fun.
Dairy. The fall tour.
prepared to get scared at Fright Night's opening night on Friday. Check out the Vancouver International Film Festival this weekend with films from all around the world. Come cheer on the Lions on Saturday when they play the Red Blacks at BC Place. Come trot off your Thanksgiving dinner at Granville Island's 10-kilometer turkey trot on Saturday.
The Sea to Sky Highway gets a makeover. Danielle Carr reports on the artist that's giving a neglected underpass a brand new look.
This isn't graffiti, this is street art. And the artist painting this mural is trying to add some color to this Creekside underpass in Whistler.
And what I want to do is encourage people as they walk through to kind of spend time to maybe it's not an experience of getting from one place to the other. They can look around and be excited and reminded about the landscape that they're living within.
The mural was commissioned by the municipality to increase art spaces for both tourists and residents.
We've got a really vibrant art scene here in Whistler. A lot of the art that's here is made by people from here, and it's a great way for people that visit Whistler from around the world to connect with our community.
Locals say they're happy the mural is brightening up the place.
I just really love coming down here and seeing it because it used to be really dark and dingy and have tons of graffiti, and now it's like really bright and beautiful and really speaks to sort of our community and our landscape.
The north side of the mural is almost complete, and Gilbert will start painting the south side later this week. The mural will be finished by the end of October. Danielle Carr in Whistler for BCIT Magazine.
A Vancouver community farm still suffers from the hot and dry summer. Miranda Fatur reports.
Vancouver residents may have welcomed the hot summer, but for one farmer, the sun has brought ongoing challenges. Southlands Farm has fewer crops this fall as a result of the heat.
Overall, it's been mostly dry, and we haven't been able to get stuff like spinach or early season onions, leeks, things like that in the ground just because it's been so intense.
Despite the conditions, Vermeulen and other staff face the heat to keep the farm blooming.
The infrastructure that we had in place was for something that was a lot less dry. Something that we could maybe get rain once in a while, and we weren't able to see that. So it put a pressure on our existing staff that were doing the programs, the riding lessons. Everybody was out watering and making sure things were taken care of.
Fewer crops means less food on the table, and this farm's purpose is to show the community where their produce comes from.
It's so important to offer the opportunity to connect with food, because through understanding your food, you understand your land, and you can start to care.
Vermeulen has plans for how to deal with extreme weather in the future.
And as times go on and the seasons become a little bit more unpredictable, as we're seeing in the last few years, us putting more things like hoop houses, more cold frames, and more covered areas, and also different grades, so having different heights in our garden actually allows us to kind of create microclimates to actually manipulate what we can grow and where.
And if anyone has worries about finding a pumpkin for this upcoming Thanksgiving and Halloween, don't worry, Vermeulen says that they have plenty. Miranda Fatur in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
The International Olympic Committee is looking into making electronic sports into a medal event. Our reporter Roger Shergill talks to gamers about what this means for the video game world.
He describes it as intense and grueling, and to competitive video gamers like Ru Yang, it's as real as sport can be.
This isn't a sport. When you compare it like just kind of by practice and whatnot, they're really similar, which is just like constantly grinding away, mastering like one element and then going on to the next one.
Competitive video gaming has exploded over the years, attracting more online views than the NBA Finals and featuring tournaments where millions are on the line. Now players are hoping to compete for medals.
Like the internet has become a place that they almost prefer to exist. Like they spend most of their time on the internet almost. So esports is a natural progression in that for people who are existing in an online community, that's the natural way for the competitive type of people to compete against each other and have fun, obviously, as well.
The Olympic Committee isn't sure if video games, especially the more aggressive ones, have a place in their games. They issued this statement. We recognize that there are a number of e-games which simulate violence and are therefore contrary to Olympic values. It cannot be determined at this stage if the addition of esports to the Olympic program will ever be considered.
I think when we're talking about esports, we kind of have to ignore that, and we just have to kind of focus it on the determination of these players and the time they put in and just their skill at the game.
Until the IOC makes its final decision, gamers will be aiming for gold.
Yes.
Raja Shergill in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
Celine Dion has donated proceeds from one of her Las Vegas shows to help families of the shooting victims. The singer hoped the show would be a sign of love and support for those who were affected. Other Las Vegas performers have canceled their shows after the tragic shooting, including Jennifer Lopez and Cirque du Soleil.
Earlier this week, U.S. rock legend Tom Petty passed away. Petty was 66 when he suffered cardiac arrest at his California home. Petty and his band, the Heartbreakers, had top hits including I Won't Back Down and Free Falling.
Vancouver police launched a new campaign to help people stay safe while dating online. Police say that reports of assault and fraud were happening through online dating are increasingly common. The campaign includes tips on how to share photos and information while protecting your privacy, and police are urging any victims of online dating crimes to come forward.
McDonald's restaurants in America are bringing back Szechuan sauce. The special sauce was first offered in the late 90s. The demand grew after it was mentioned on the hit cartoon Rick and Morty.
If you have any questions regarding the show, you can contact us at bcit-broadcast.com or bcitbroadcastnews.ca. Thanks for watching BCIT Magazine. I'm Gurneet Samra.
And I'm Mac Britton. We leave you now with another look at the scenery of the Sea to Sky Highway.